Nite with Kendra Dawsey. And here's your host, Kendra Dawsey.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Zach. How are you doing on this lovely Wednesday evening?
I'm going to be honest. I'm a little tired.
That's fair.
But I've got my coffee with me.
Wait, is that... No, that's not coffee. That's lager.
Fuck. All right. Well, off to a bad start.
You're going to be more tired, probably.
But I'm feeling good about the show. I think we're gonna have a nice show here.
Hell yeah.
So, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I am alive. I'm existing. I have my cat next to me. People might want to see my cat.
Oh yeah. We're gonna at some point we're gonna have to just set up a second like a third camera for Janet.
I know, right? Just
and then we'll just be talking, and most people will just be watching. Actually, I would be okay if I was just removed from the screen entirely and I just talked over footage of Janet.
It would be funny to do that one day, honestly.
It would be, and it would probably get more viewers. I would.
Yeah, assume. And then it'll be like, hey, turn on your sound. Like, listen to us talk about capitalism. Imagine this, just like, so Marxist theory of alienation is that.
I'm learning already.
Amazing. She's doing great.
Yes, great. Yes, get hashtag 2MB Janet Cam trending somewhere and anywhere. So, anyway, besides reveling in the joy of the wonderful cat Janet, what else is on your mind this week?
Oh, I'll tell you what's on my mind this week, Zach. Today, we're going to focus on the least depressing news out of this week. We're going to talk about Netflix. So, streaming company Netflix has announced that for the first time in 10 years, they have actually had a loss in subscribers. 200,000 subscribers total ended their Netflix subscription in the past quarter, and although Netflix has 220 million subscribers to make up for it, it still sent the share price down 35%. Most of the subscriber loss, actually all of it, was because Netflix canceled services in Russia. But sometimes a company does something that thinks it will make it more money and makes it less money. Anyway, the subscriber loss has already caused Netflix to axe multiple shows and movies, and has already worsened employee morale. And this is on the heels of many controversies, most recently the Dave Chappelle controversy, which had people mysteriously defending a multi-million-dollar corporation, and also led to a walkout from trans employees of Netflix. So Netflix, as a company, has strayed pretty far from its roots as a blockbuster replacer in 1997. At first, it was known as a mail-in DVD service. Now, it is known to churn out mediocre original content starring light-skinned biracial actresses and canceling legitimately good shows after 2 seasons. It seems that Netflix spends lots of money on an array of high-budget to low-budget content, hoping that something will stick and add more subscribers. Sometimes a low-budget show strikes a chord with audiences, like Squid Game. They use this to offset the price of higher-cost content like Stranger Things. Netflix has Netflix has a formula in terms of like the effectiveness of a show. So Squid Games was pretty effective. It only cost $3 million per episode. And it made a lot of money back. Whereas things like Stranger Things or maybe other shows, the season 4 of Stranger Things has already been rumored to be $30 million per episode. So it's going to need to make a lot of money for that to pay off. It must also be noted that there's also a ridiculous amount of content to wade through on Netflix. And it's very hard to learn of new shows unless you are personally invested in the show or you hear of it through word of mouth. In fact, Netflix will suppress new series in search results if the series doesn't take off within the first month of release. So that reduces the likelihood that viewers are going to see things that they are interested in if they automatically get it out of the algorithm. And one reason why this is quite stressful for viewers, maybe more so for Netflix execs, but for viewers, is because this isn't how traditional advertising for media works. Of course, there's lots of money dumped into advertising, but back in my day, long ago in 2001, there were more chances of films that were very low budget indie darlings like My Big Fat Greek Wedding to get on by word of mouth. Meanwhile, at Netflix, they give the window of word of mouth. They give it such a small window that things don't really pop off like they thought it would, and it seems to be crushing the way that the movie and media industry has worked for many years. On top of the radically different world of streaming services in general, there's also rumors of a price on password sharing, cutting you off permanently from your ex-girlfriend's roommate's dad's account, and bringing back ads, which is alienating most customers. We did not join Netflix so that we could see ads again, and we did not join Netflix so that we have to pay $3 to share our password, So this makes people unhappy with Netflix. People have been leaving because the shows kind of suck. And this is what it means to, have a media service under capitalism. You're just churning out more and more content, hoping more and more people will consume it without actually giving a thought to if they actually want to consume it. But that is my take on Netflix. Adult Swim already brought back Tuca and Birdie, so fuck Netflix, and we will we'll be back after this brief commercial break.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, Gobo, I don't know what to say.
Oh, forget it. Just say hi-lo.
Itty bitty cow cow.
Chow chow.
Wee wow wow.
Ectomini outside.
Daddy yo yo.
Hey, come on, let's go.
Wow, that was beautiful.
All right. Was that Fraggle Rock?
It seemed like it. Actually, can we get confirmation? Was that Fraggle Rock? Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't.
Stand by for more information on this continuing story. We have a breaking news update. The answer is yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. So Zach, some things have been happening in this world.
Some things have been happening this week, and we want to talk about those. We also want to know what you who are watching are thinking about that happened this week. Let us know in the comments. We're going to need your help to get through this one. Because otherwise we might just be talking about Elon damn Musk the entire time.
But I did hear that he might be pulling out of the Twitter deal.
He might be pulling out now for the funniest possible reason.
What's the reason?
The reason is that the stock that the Tesla stock he put up as collateral for the purchase is because he is the biggest owner of Tesla stock. The fact that he's selling all of this is making the value of Tesla stock go down. So it's lost like 11% of its value. And so now what he put up is not worth what it was before.
Money is fake and rich people are stupid. I'm so mad.
It's so stupid and fake and doesn't. So on some levels, I think it does make logical sense. If a company that is worth a lot of money, if the guy who owns it is like, oh, I'm actually the guy in charge, and like I brand myself as the genius of this company, and also I want to sell a huge portion of it to buy a website so that nobody can be mean to me on it. That should logically probably devalue the stock. I don't think that's out of question that would happen. But it is fun. It is particularly arbitrary seeming, and also it is funny because he wanted to do a thing and now he's not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny seeing him embarrass himself, certainly. But it's definitely, the purchase has like created such a weird wave of discourse of people being like, oh, like it's good for one man to own a huge corner of the internet. That's good for free speech. By definition, that's not good for free speech. And I think there's people mad that Twitter naturally does I think they did a study that was like Twitter will amplify like far right voices more than far left voices. Like it's not, there's no lefties at Twitter like banning people, but I guess like that's a narrative people have spun.
Right.
Where it's like,
right.
oh, I can't say
because they made it part of. I mean, a lot of this is really coming down of part of the terms of service. It is bannable to misgender people.
Yeah.
And that's it's probably a large part of what when people are talking, because free speech is like bogus in terms of an American value and an American right, and in terms of like actually being a thing. Like we all say it as if it's something we agree upon what it means.
Yeah.
And we don't, and it's a very dumb thing to be, to be that being your thing that you want to talk about all the time. But but it also it's I mean, a lot of the discourse was like, hey, are we gonna leave Twitter if Elon becomes the owner? And it's just like, well, it's also bad now. It really has
been bad. I figured it would get worse, but it's not a great place.
Right. It's sort of a microcosm of our sort of larger look at the world, where it's like it could get worse, but it could also stay the same bad. Like it's hard to have any sort of optimism of Twitter or larger institutions getting better at this point.
Yeah. Yes. No, I agree. And I think I mean, there's a lot of things I can say about this. I think, like people have obviously, and for good reasons, been so disillusioned with the government that they think like a benevolent dictator is going to be better than like an open source kind of like an internet where like, three companies don't own like a solid 75% of it, and like it's never going to be good for one person to own like anything, especially a website like Twitter, where like, it has a lot of issues. I'm not saying like Twitter, it's more of like the fact that people needed to like connect somewhere, and Twitter seemed better than Facebook, but like it's not intrinsic to Twitter that people connected in terms of activism, but people did. It would be cool if they were able to do it in a place that, where, you didn't get ads for Oreos every 3 seconds, and they weren't like, tracking, and then people will like post about the like harassment they got and then get banned, but it did happen. And I think it would be like the internet when it first started back in our day when we were youth, or I mean, I guess the internet probably started before I was born, but like when
the World Wide Web.
The World Wide Web. Yes.
You can say yes.
Thank you. It was like, there was not like 2 people owning half of it. Like it was, and that in itself is like bad for, and also like, I mean, it's weird to say the monetization of the internet is bad, because now I feel like we think of it as monetized, but like, and of course it, there was like the .com boom. I'm not going to pretend that there's never been money in the internet, but like now, Facebook is selling our fucking like data to companies, and before you could just make like a Zanga page and like no one would be in your business or whatever.
Right. Which is it used to be, because we are in what they call web 2.0, where we are not visiting a bunch of different pages. We are visiting like 4 or 5 pages and then dispersing through the larger content available on those 4 or 5 pages.
Yeah.
So it is significantly less democratized than Web 1.0 in that regard.
Yeah.
So it's also it is, because it is owned by 4 or 5 companies are the ones who were visiting their pages. The internet as we most experience it is designed around advertiser friendliness.
Yes.
It's not designed like you can say what you want about MySpace or any of the other, sort of like late 1.0, early 2.0 type of websites, is that you could make your MySpace page look just inscrutable and terrible to look at if you wanted to. You were allowed to do that.
Hell yeah.
And now you cannot do that to anything because it needs to stay in a pretty like prim and proper way that allows for ads to be easily seen all over and to be seamlessly integrated.
Yes.
So you can't even tell what I mean. You don't even you go on these websites now and you just see the same things over and over again because it's not giving. I mean, I know you can like fuck with the settings and like try to make it like more of like a timeline type of thing, but the things aren't really timeline based anymore because they're just but yeah, so I think Twitter is I don't know, I'm never gonna stop posting. That's
I mean, I probably won't stop because I have issues, but like that doesn't make it good. I mean, it's weird to say I miss the days of the internet where I just visited random sites and I might see someone's head chopped off or I might see someone shove a jar in their asshole. Like those were the days, those were the good old days of the internet for me. It probably left some scars on my psyche, but it was truly democratic.
Right. Yeah, those don't really exist anymore. That is one thing that
unless like I don't know, like I remember like Blue Waffle and Lemon Party and there was like all of this shit that like was like, oh, did you hear about this? Like I don't know if the kids have that. I think they just have 13 reasons why, and then they like wonder why they have increased suicide ideation.
Right. Yeah, they have the YouTube video lady who tells you to start fires in your house or whatever.
Wait, there's a YouTube.
No, it was like I don't know if it was an urban legend or something. It was like Momo is like they were like saying like it was a thing that was popping up on kids' algorithms and like and like giving them all of these tasks to do, and like one of them was like turn on your oven, and like I don't know. Somebody else can say whether or not it was actually real, or I think it might have existed briefly, and then it continued to exist as an urban legend. And but overall, the internet is in a lot of ways more fucked up, but also in a lot of ways more boring than it was.
Yeah, and I feel like it's like got way more fucked up and way more boring.
Yes.
Like I guess it's fucked up in a capitalist way and not in a like, oh, I shouldn't be seeing this content when I was 12. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
It's like we shouldn't have been seeing. There's probably something in between where it's like, hey, kids won't see people's heads being chopped off, and all of our like innermost thoughts and like whatever won't be sold to companies. Like I feel like and like QAnon won't like bloom on Facebook because people are interacting with it.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah, I'm sorry to go off about that.
I know how terminally online you are and how terminally online I am. It was necessary that the bulk of this episode was extremely online. If we want to be online for a little bit longer, we can pour one out for a dead homie. CNN Plus ending at the end of this week. There will be no more CNN Plus as of 11:59 on Saturday night.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. to the most important streaming service.
Yeah, I guess that was like Quibi. I actually heard it had a like worse return on investment percentage wise than Quibi. They didn't put in more money, but they lost more money per dollar, I think. Yeah, I don't know who thought CNN Plus was a good idea. I don't know.
Well, to my understanding is that they got it like they had to the McKinsey Institute, which is like the people who do consultancy on like everything. Mm-hmm. It's the one that Pete Buttigieg fixed bread prices with, or was working the McKinsey Institute. And you just like pay them a bunch of money, and then they just tell you exactly what you want to hear. And McKinsey was like, "Oh, there's a huge market for CNN Plus." But my favorite part about CNN Plus was that they were contractually obligated not to be able to have breaking news on CNN Plus because that is contracted to the cable companies that have CNN, saying that they will not simulcast any sort of breaking news on CNN on a different paid service. So the thing that, which is, CNN does not do anything well, but the thing that they come the closest to doing well is that, like, if something crazy is happening, you can turn on CNN and see what's happening.
Yeah.
And you could not even do that with CNN Plus.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. I don't know how I feel about that.
So, yeah. But we'll have to find some way to get a new book club with Jake Tapper show. Would that was one of the shows that was on there.
I also did not hear. I mean, I know I'm not. I probably do not, don't get the same advertisements as like a lot of Americans, but I did not hear about it until it was ending.
Like I didn't hear about it until it was like, there was a article on Defector. Everybody should read and subscribe to Defector, especially if you like sports. But they had an article that said that CNN Plus was on Quibi Watch, and I was like, oh, I got to know about this now. And yes,
amazing.
Yes, but also, we do actually feel, because there are definitely a lot of people, like television production people, like working people who were getting jobs, may have even left other jobs for CNN Plus as an opportunity, and we feel bad for you that your ability to try to succeed in this world is consistently cut down by just the dumbest people making the dumbest decisions based on fake data about what people may or may not like.
Yeah.
So
sorry about that, bro. Sorry, bro. We have about 5-ish minutes left. Do you have any final remarks, or should we keep going with the...
I don't have 5 minutes worth of final remarks.
Okay. All right. Let's go on to like another...
I was just going to say, like, let's go Celtics or something. Let's see. So you want to go off about there were like 3 articles this weekend because some white girl didn't get into the college she wanted.
Yes.
That's an insane thing to write an article about. I know I shouldn't call things insane, but that is...
People are like, oh, this white girl didn't get a perfect SAT score and she wasn't let into Harvard. It's like, yeah, there's like Black people who have perfect SAT scores who don't get into Harvard. There are like Asian people who have perfect, like that. Like those are difficult schools. Why do you think you're entitled to get into these? Like, I mean, like,
right.
It's weird. I don't know.
I also saw that like they like somewhere they listed her extracurriculars like to show that she like was well rounded, and one of her extracurriculars was accounting club. And
no, that's boring. They
if I worked in admissions and I saw that on the nope, sorry, you're...
Yeah, no, every college. Also, she totally got into some college. It just wasn't the ones that she wanted.
Yeah,
and. Well, like that's reality. Like the way college works in this country sucks. Mm-hmm. The main victim of that is not a girl who probably, has the rest of the world open to her, regardless of whether she goes to UCLA or not, like that, like she's not like she's gonna go to college and she'll probably be fine. It may not be the college that she wanted, but she'll probably be fine.
Also, I got into the college that I wanted, and I resent that college with a fiery passion. I believe it should be expropriated and should not exist anymore. So, you never know, when God closes a door, he opens a window. And so you might be way better off with this. There's a good chance. I mean, I've seen enough Harvard people around to know that there's a good chance you might just hate them if you went there.
Yeah.
So
I hate myself, and I went to Ivy League school. Like why do you think like your life is going to be great?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, and of course, if you don't get into a school and then you have a bunch of articles that come out about how poor you not getting into the schools you wanted to, you have retroactively justified their decision to not let you in because that's not something that a good person does.
It's like also the people to be mad at aren't the like black kids who got maybe 50 points less on the SAT but had to work like 3 jobs and raise their little sister or whatever the fuck. The people to be mad at are the legacies. They're like, it's the dudes whose dads own the building, but he got like a 1350.
Right. Jared Kushner.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like, don't come for me.
Yeah.
Like, come for fucking Jared Kushner. Like, what is the deal?
Right.
What is the issue?
Yeah. Or whoever's the Jared Kushner of this year.
There's probably so much.
There's multiple every year for sure.
Yeah.
What do we got? We're wrapping it up here. Dr. Fauci said we're in the post-pandemic.
I kind of don't believe him. No offense. But I don't believe it.
I think that they would be saying that regardless of where we are at this point. Like they don't have any things to do. They got rid of the mask mandate. That was one of the 2 things they had. They could do another round of boosters if they wanted to, but I don't know how much of a difference that would make or how many people would be, like it's not, I don't feel the same sort of like, I got to get, if they said another round of boosters, I would say, okay, I'll do that eventually. Like it's not going to be like something I'm going to like see when the openings appear or whatever.
Yeah.
Immediately do it. So they don't have any, he's got no weapons in his arsenal. What would he even, I don't know what he would even like say. What's he going to say? We are still mid-pandemic. That's why I've decided that we're doing nothing.
That is a good point. It does not make sense. Yeah, I mean, things aren't great. There's more and more stuff coming out about long COVID, and like a lot of people are gonna probably have it. I would keep masking. I don't know. It's very frustrating. But we know America's not great.
Yeah. Yep. We lost this one, folks. It'll be interesting to see what China does now, though, because China is having a very strong case numbers right now. And that's COVID beat America. Let's see how China. It's like in Mortal Kombat where you defeat one person and you like go up to the next opponent or whatever. It's like U.S. is defeated and like moving up the next one is China, and let's see how China does.
Yeah. It seems like things aren't great there, but they in terms of like containing COVID, but like there's less dead people, like I think per capita. So I'm not like
they hit their big bump after vaccines. Like that's the most you can ask for.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have any closing. I said let's go Celtics. Great job sweeping the Nets. Do you have anything that you want to add before we close?
No, I don't think so. But thank you everyone for watching. Please stick around for Rachel Jane Andelman's honorable mentions. That's going to be a fun show, and we will see you next week.